So welcome to another installment of Keyspiro Communicast, the stories of good people doing great things around our community. And with me today is the artist James Chase, who I've known for a pretty long period of time. I've watched his career grow, and we're in the middle of Manchester's first ever Mural Festival, followed, which is following on the footsteps of mural creations in Concord and right along Arms Park in Manchester. And so welcome, and I'm really excited to talk to you about what this means, not just the art that's being created, but the people behind it. I've had the chance to pal around with you now for the first couple of days, and you've brought in three incredibly gifted artists, professionals at what they're doing, creating murals and different things. But more importantly, when they go back to their homes, what I see that this whole organization and this whole project has created is that next step and next tier for local artists, because every one of those masters have been paired with one or more artists who have either recently graduated, a couple, I think, were students of yours previously. So it, to me, is a very exciting time for the next step. So tell me about the concept of how you got to this point and who some of the key local players are.
Yeah, so my name is James Chase. I'm associate professor at New England College and the founder of Arts Build Community. And for this program, I'm co-producing it. So I have an amazing colleague, Dominique Miller, who has been working with me to really get this program off the ground. Murals and public art in particular have a way of sparking dialogue and conversation. And so a lot of people see the end result, but what we're after is those in-betweens that some people may not know about or see, but we're really focused on. And so building with rather than for. And so we've brought in some really heavy hitter muralists from Boston, from Portugal, and Texas to come here, but collaborate with the community in a long lasting, impactful way. We have every artist has worked with 3 to 4 local emerging artists, and they're training them to be the next wave so that when they leave, the artists that are here feel confident to take more risks and to really branch out. Josemeyer, one of our local artists, was like, I don't know if I can help you, Alex. I've never used spray paint before. And he's like, that's exactly why you need to help. And so at the end of the day, we say it's just paint. This is a way of exploring and really leveling up.
And that's what I saw. You know, when I looked around, I met Mikey, I've met Joe, Chloe, and Christian.
Yep.
And in every case, there's this close working relationship. It's mentoring. You talked about the being able to continue and carry it on after others leave. It really was a wonderful kind of conversation, not even suggestions, outlining tips. It's the way a mentor treats that next generation and helps prepare them to be on their own. They've already got the ideas. They've already sketched out what they wanted to do. And maybe it's some of the experience of doing it before that the people who come in to help have really made a difference, because it's okay to use some paint here. It's okay if it didn't quite work out, you cover it up.
Absolutely. And it's really empowering them that their voices matter, and that you can try things that are outside of your comfort zone and actually encourage that risk taking. And so beyond working with the local artists, we're also working with some amazing nonprofits. So we're working with My Turn and the Boys and Girls Club. And so these artists have done workshops with the community prior or when they came here to listen to how do residents want to be represented? What should these murals even be from the beginning? And so they came here with no preconceived notion. And through the dialogue of the local artists and the residents, they were built with, which has been amazing. One of the artists is they're doing a multi section mural, and he doesn't know what the next one's going to be because he's gathered all that information. And then just like I'm learning a lot from you right now, Keith, he's taking that information, listening to the residents and the assistants, and it's still ever evolving. And I think that's just really magical that you couldn't just create if it was just someone that would helicopter in, do their thing, and then leave.
Right.
Because the community is going to have to live with this.
Right. And you know, that point is well taken. Last night I got the chance to talk to him. And what was really amazing to me was we're all learning, right? And so he said, this is backwards from how we usually do it. We have the concept, it's all laid out. I go and I paint and I do the murals. Here, I'm listening to the stories. And I heard that repeated by Amanda. It was said by Alex and Michael also, as he brought somebody, oh, David.
Yeah, David, and then
David.
Michael's our lead documentarian, and then we also have Cheyenne, who is a documentarian as well, really getting in and doing portraits and branching out too. So there, every artist has a mentor or a mentee that they can rely on each other.
And it was very, very obvious that the close working relationships across the board. We're all learning from each other. You know, I'm kind of a gadfly. I popped in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a donor. I joined in because it made sense to see this take off. But the boots on the ground, as they would say, and the community conversations that you mentioned, to have children at Boys and Girls Club, or to have somebody talk about the aroma or the things in their parents' kitchen, or grandparents' kitchen,
yes,
see that come to life on the wall of the building is an absolutely amazing thing.
That I think that summarizes perfectly, right? So during these workshops, the idea of identity and home, and how do you represent yourself? And so basic at the first, with the conversation of home is a physical place, and then through the questions of back and forth between their peers, the instructors, we also had some trainees that are moving up in their programs in on it, and then Amanda and some residents, they started saying, well, I've moved around a lot, right? I don't see myself reflected here, so home is a place I carry with me. Right. And then that sparked more ideas of memories of being at one place or another. And so her mural just it really, Amanda Hill's mural really encapsulates like what this process is about, right? Is that that collaboration of everybody's voice kind of coming together, that you couldn't just check off on a box and say, this is what we're going to do.
Right. And I saw the same thing with Alex this morning. He's in there with, these are students of you, former students of yours who look up to you, who are graduating. But having a guest artist come in added validation for the work you do, and more importantly for them. And the way he engaged with them, he wasn't pointing out what to do. He was actually observing. What did you create? How are you going to execute that? And I've seen the same thing with you. As a leader of this, you really have taken the ability to get people to rise up to their greatest capabilities. You know, it's like you haven't set expectations, but you've allowed them to go to the highest possible level. Where can you go with it? The trust, the comfort level to take a chance, that risk taking we talked about. And there was one other thing that became very clear over the last couple of days. When you talk about the conversations and the dialogue that you wanted to create, not just art on a wall, the community itself, the bystanders, the people who are working in the buildings next door or the building being painted, and even people who might be, you know, underhoused, who are traveling through that street, the whole group struck a chord, because I saw dialogue and conversation that hasn't been here before. It just was there. Very bright murals, and they engage in a spirited, sparkling way. Those same conversations. Oh, I'm so glad this is here. I didn't know the Knoll building even looked like that until all of a sudden it comes out and bursts forward. And it's a compliment to the whole team and the whole program when you can see dialogue that includes people who may have been tagging it. You know, you have professional artists, and Alex was clear to point out, professionally trained, has never tagged a building. But there was a conversation taking place for somebody who was showing respect for work that was done on many different levels, and even asking how did they raise their own standard of living, performance, and job opportunities.
Yeah, asking how
powerful.
Yeah, and that's what I'm really proud of. I mean, this whole idea couldn't have happened with one person, and it's been 2 years in the making with so many different voices rising up, that I'm excited for this, where it's going to go with this foundation, because it's already gone in like so many different ways that are just, it's inspiring. It
is inspiring, and it's exciting, and really it leads to my last question on this very short conversation, because I know you've got to get back to work. But where does it go from here? So given the lessons learned and being learned right now, straight up to a block party that takes place on Saturday,
Yes.
Where can you see this going? As you know, because this is the first year of trial by error, learn
Yep.
as we go. Now we've got a full year ahead that additional walls become available, more
Absolutely.
students. Do you have a couple of thoughts that you leave us
Yeah.
with as a community?
Absolutely. Seeing the dialogue and because let's be honest, it's art, right? We're not providing answers, but we're providing conversations and
Yes.
different ways of questioning, and thinking about this whole 10 days about the experiences that are happening. I'm like, it could be experiences. It doesn't necessarily have to be murals. So we can still do murals in a year, but leading up till that point, we can have more of these experiences. And so they don't know it yet, but we're going to be asking these emerging artists to then continue on with us and work the next year with our community. So that way we continue to reflect and listen and come up with more ways of conversation. And so they're the next wave, and that's what this is all about.
Love it. Love it. Thank you so much for spending time here and continued success. And look
Thank you
forward
for
to seeing the
supporting.
conversations. It's
Thank
my pleasure.
and listening. Thank you so much, Keith.